What is your perception, where you think talent is going to be, especially with the generation we have now, the youth across East Africa and in particular Africa?
The picture I paint from an African context speaks to the demographics of the continent, and particularly the demographics of Uganda, looking that about 78% of us are under 30. Down the line, I see that talent management needs to be a lot more inclusive. And we need to approach it from a point of view of being a lot more intentional about that particular demographic. How do we enhance or promote a more youthful management team, for instance? How do we become more intentional when we are acquiring or choosing to retain? What is it that interests them? Because I can see that the things that kept us way back as motivators, or the things that were looking like benefits, are not necessarily the benefits that are going to be for a more youthful team or more youthful teams. And with that particular demographic, there's also the demographic of the female. I see that we need to also be more intentional about having teams and management teams and basically staffing that is more intentional about including both at the youth and gender area. But I also look further from a regional perspective, because I think in Uganda especially, and speaking to one of the partners of the Big Four in Uganda, they had really reached a point where one of their main concerns was the way they were losing staff. You know, they do a lot of training, they bring them in, so they chose to be intentional about regionally reaching out. So it was not more about, okay, who is the best candidate, but who is the best candidate from the eastern region? Who is the best candidate from the northern region? And it has borne fruit for them. So I'm thinking that that's the way we need to approach it if we are to be more inclusive, because all the regions are growing, and we need to be able to have talent well diversified from all the regions, because they have a role to play. I can give the example of ADC, for instance. We train in the regions. So by default, we need to recruit from each of the regions. So you find that when you go to train or build capacities in a certain region, there is a richness by having someone really coming from there. So you can come from Kampala, you may even know the language, but you may not reach, you know, you may not serve that particular audience as well. So the team is all richer by having representation, and I see that happening more. We need it to happen more if we are to have a more, the growth which is really for the country, which is going to be able to be well representative of the entire population. Thank you.